had to throw it in my mouth. Two of the kids started. I said, okay, you guys, I looked at the teacher, and they threw this. Go sit by your teacher. And they ended up.
Okay. All right. What? Real quick.
Okay, one of the things I always did, I behave the same way in their classroom in the planetarium. I have complete control of the planetarium with those kids. Get them out of there because they're going to behave the way they do back in class.
Teachers step up. Okay. And like this, and you guys handled it great. I had issues, but our discipline thing. What happened is we had a new sheriff in town, a new president, and he made the planetarium free. So the good was the attendance shot up. We used to do 30,000 people a year. We went up to 120,000. And so that was great. That's the good part. The bad part is people are coming for free. They don't. And so they're coming, go to the planetarium, it's free. We paid for that by raising, of course, the museum. And so you get people coming in. And also in that policy, they made children 4 and under free. And it was, and I go, because I know some planetariums limit their age, right? You can't go in. So they didn't want to do that. And so it was all the stuff, talking, doing all their bad stuff. Clueless parent was just driving me nuts because then they are always quiet for a while, right? And then they come back up. So it was really bad. And so when my part-timers were just going crazy because they couldn't control the crowds. And we all know when we're doing a skywalk and showing the wonders of the it just throws you off. And it just, ugh. Anyway, I go, well, level with them, give your announcement. Nice. And that wasn't working. And it was just getting really, really bad. So good attendance up. Really, I mean, it was almost every live show. There was somebody on the phone and talking. It was bad. Because emphatic announcements, is that a warning?
We only have 2 minutes, and if you want to run your clip.
Oh, 2 minutes. I started 2 minutes late at least. Anyway, so the ugly was trying to figure out what to do, and you guys had some good examples, and that's insurance. So these were mainly public shows, and so it finally, Jeff Holt and Madison one time had an audio thingy. Snapper. So he had this audio clue, and he did it more for fun, but so it's trying to figure out a way to. And it's just, so you go to the cinema, right? Okay. And what do they have before you go to the Hollywood movies? And we can make it fun. And so there were some minions, fighting or whatever before the show. And I go, God, that is just hilarious. On the solar system, and we had animated these planets. And I go, God, we got the animations all done. All we have to do is show no, and then it turned into Quiet Planets. We sent it to Doug. It won. Some of you have been to Doug. You've seen this, but I talked. Then we'll show the video. It's working great because what happens is If there's a baby crying or something, you know, don't be like the planet. You refer to the video you're going to see, which is great. You use that. I mean, it doesn't, of course, make, and it's wonderful, and my boss loved it too, so that's the best part. So go ahead. It's our little pre-show we do before every. Stop talking so much.
Oh, more popcorn.
The planets are getting ready for the planetarium show.
Bet the show features me, the biggest planet.
Or me, with my cool rings.
It seems bounces all over the place.
Pipe down, you two. Look what you did. Baby Pluto is crying.
People sitting in
Even more red.
So, let's all be like little Mercury who hasn't said a peep since they all sat down. Thank
Hey, look at me funny.
planets. It's quiet time now. Oh, and no, everyone. Thank you.
So that's it. And if anyone can use, and you can convert it. So for you in the Digistar world, it's on the library in the cloud. You can download. Times call for desperate measures or creative measures. It leads you to creative measures, and it was fun. So I thank the minions for that. Got a minute for questions? See me after the session if you'd like the Dome Masters for that. Thanks.
I wanted to ring the bell. Okay. Yeah, can you bring up some lights? Microphone ready. Jupiter, Saturn, 12/21/2020, T minus 2 years and counting. Start watching now. Okay.
You see is not meant to be a public show because it's only 10 minutes and it crams 2 years worth of sky events. It can be slowed down if you want to by the time of the first event, which is December 10th. So, and we're going to be looking 9 degrees below the horizon, mid-twilight, we call it, roughly 45 minutes before sunrise. We have about 6 months of morning, twilight to follow the planets, and then we'll shift to the evening, and we'll follow the planets. Months and then back to evening, covering the 2 years. And what we're doing is following Jupiter and Saturn, which are getting closer and closer together until near the just a month and a half from now, something like December 10th in the morning. So that's where we'll start. East will be to able to tell by the twilight glow, which will be which side of the moon is illuminated, whether it's morning or evening. South will be in the front. So we start out with Venus here, which is Venus and Jupiter just coming out of the morning twilight glow there. And we're looking every day for a while. We're not going to do this for the whole 2 years. And on December 22nd, we should have a full moon in the opposite direction. Comes the moon over to the eastern sky, and we're going to see it on January 1st. It'll be near Venus, Mercury. And we skip a bunch of days, and we can see Venus closing in on Jupiter. They'll be on January 20th. Saturn coming out of the twilight about that time when Venus passes Jupiter. And then there's the nice close conjunction of Venus and the moon. And Venus and Saturn here comes the moon around again. Morning sky. We lost Mercury, but Saturn replaced. And Jupiter and Saturn, Venus. Here's Mercury. Now there, Venus looks like it's going to catch Mercury. Pulling away now. It stopped within 4.3 degrees, which is less than 5, so you can call it a quasi or celestial longitude position along the ecliptic. Here comes the moon around again, past very low though, and we're coming to near the end of this morning sequence. It'll end when Jupiter is just above the horizon. Venus just above one horizon while Jupiter's just above the other. We just passed Jupiter's opposition, which was on the horizon. So now we'll shift to the evening sky where we'll back up the date to Jupiter's opposition about 3 weeks before then, when Jupiter is just starting to rise in the evening sky. Here you have the twilight glow on the also, that you can tell it's evening. So what do we have? I forgot to point out Mercury and Mars. On June 18th, Mercury and Mars are pretty close together there. Mercury's coming out from behind the sun. Mars when Mars disappears into the twilight glow. So what do we have? Opposition, and here they are in the summer of 2019. And now we only have Jupiter and Saturn to look at. Nothing like this summer with multiple. And Jupiter there is in Ophiuchus, and Saturn is still in Sagittarius. It doesn't get very high, and then it gets back down, but now we've got Venus. We have Venus closing in on Jupiter. When Venus passed Jupiter and then Saturn in the morning sky, now it's November 23rd and 24th, when and it's going to pass 1.5 degrees. It's going to pass 1.9 degrees south of Saturn. Jupiter's about to go, so that means, well, this is the end of our evening series, 6-month evening series. 2019, ending here. Now we'll switch, go several weeks into the future. The sun into the morning sky again, and now in early 2020, we have Jupiter and Mars in the morning sky, and a few going to pass Antares, nearly 5 degrees north of Antares. We have Mars and Jupiter in the morning sky with the moon passing by. Saturn coming out of the twilight glow, much closer to Jupiter this time. If you saw the moon go right in front of Mars, that really happens on February 18th. And very accurately, this where this is projected. Oh, here. We have Mars passing Jupiter and Saturn just 7 degrees away. Slightly more compact as Mars passes Saturn, 6 degrees, just over 6 degrees it was. Most compact arrangement 40. Slightly more compact in both of those cases. Although the one in 24. I'll be 101 that year. Hoping to see it, but can't. And they were actually, see, this is the morning sky spreading apart until late May. I guess we missed. No, got it backwards. They closed, now they're spreading apart. They closed together to less than 5 degrees in late May. Late May in the morning sky. I think it's May 18th. It'll be in the paper. And what do we have? Mercury, 5 naked eye planets at once. Jupiter low and Mercury low in the opposite direction. Venus in July, it's pretty bright in the morning sky in 2020. And now, let's see, that was till several weeks till Jupiter's just coming up in the evening before its opposition. 13th or 14th, depending on. Okay, there's Jupiter, but Saturn is not far behind. 6 degrees when they came up, but they'll spread apart till about 8 degrees. Because of Jupiter retrograding faster than Saturn does. But now they'll start to shrink again. Distance will be 5 degrees. We're almost there. Oh, and here comes Mars. Mars has an opposition. Not quite as close as what we just had. Together by about 1/10 of a degree a day along in here, 3 degrees apart there. 2 degrees. Of December, 9 days to go from there to their closest approach, which is on 1/10 of a degree. That's half the separation of the Mizar-Alcor double star. So keep your prescription up to date. I think it'll be still easy to see with the naked eye. Split. Saturn. And we're going right to the bitter end because Mercury comes up. This is for binoculars now. 5-degree field for a few nights as Mercury passes Saturn and then Jupiter a couple nights later. And this is the end. I know, and not talk to people. Many people are as endeared to mourning as I am. Those 3 planet gatherings were of the gatherings of 3, 2 out of.
Questions, Bob?
Thank you. Yes. What? Every August. Right. Oh. The last time they were this close was 1623. They were a little bit closer.
And we all got destroyed back then.
Trouble. I haven't found any reference to whether we saw it. And then the next time we won't have to wait as long. 28.
Any more questions?
Slightly closer than this one. Any other questions?
Any more questions for Bob? Okay. We're going to hang on while John sets up here a little bit for the next paper, so everybody can stand up and stretch. No, don't check your phone. They're all. You guys are as bad as the kids that come in. I'm gonna sick Bob after you. Okay, another. Okay, we're going to get ready to introduce the next paper, so everybody grab your seat. Are you ready, John? I'm ready. John's ready. Okay, our next paper is John Frank. Okay, take it away, John.
All right, so we did some spring, I think it was, or last fall. I forget when it was, but over the past year, when I say we, all I really did was just a shadow puppet show here in the planetarium, and. You know, I mean, I'm a big fan of all anything. It was just so simple, but it was one of the most effective stories that I've seen in the planetarium, and I thought it wore the white suits you can see there, and just had a little plastic piece of wire over their head to make the shadow of the astronauts. And so I'll just stop talking. Let's just watch this for a little bit, and then we'll demonstrate some of the puppets. And I have Pia Banzoff here, who was one of the Bybek, who's not here today, but he was also responsible for it. So I'll stop talking. see some of the shadow puppets? All right, well, let me stop this, and let me introduce you to Pia, and we'll actually do some of the shadow puppets. So this is Pia. She's the inspiration behind this. And what is your exact title? Your card said something about you were a puppeteering puppet. What was it?
Performance. My research area is cognition and puppetries, but I also teach German mostly. We just put a grant application in to develop this. We'll hear in February. We're so excited.
All right, well, why don't you show us what we've got?
Just say one more thing. You talked about how discover that they have something. It goes over a neon light tube.
And it has this wonderful structure. And until you don't try it, you don't know what it does. So it has this really cool.
That's the latest over here.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, it's slow dough, you know, slow food.
I like this.
This is the beginning, basically, of the story. Then we have so there's a whole bunch of things you can do really good lights. These are not the best, and we realized we need to develop our own light for color, because we can get really good detail in this, but we cannot get color with no light. We've burned through so many lights while we were doing this. But you see, there's really good detail. We can make the flashlights, yeah, it's particular. We have to be
We can't hear what she's saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. They have to be point light. But you don't have to use just cutouts for this. You can use your.
Oh, maybe I should unmute it.
So you can use all kinds of 3D things. And it's just, and it was never completed because this was just a rehearsal. You see all the detail that you can show, and it's just packing tape, okay? In a show, in a museum exhibit. But we have the Eiffel Tower. I think somewhere there's a bridge somewhere that we could recognize. Obviously, now it looks like a space potato, but it's. Oh, sorry. The flashlight almost. It's a sheet of.
So, I think that light is probably indicating that we are. Oh, we still have another minute?
Yeah.
All right, well, let me fade that light out. I think that was from another thing running.
There's a picture which we tested, but we didn't want to do that here in the planetarium because it's all dark. You move this up and down. And then we also have this, yes.
All right, I'll be the actor. Last couple of minutes for any questions or if anyone wants to play with anything. Let me.
How did you make the puppets? How did you make the puppets?
How did we make the puppets? Well, they're little paper cutouts. You can come up afterwards and take a close look at it, but you see it's just a little paper cutout and on a stick.
And we had other puppets that were on an umbrella mechanism that were just wire covered with the IV tubing, and then
there were the birds that were just on little wires.
origami.
Yeah.
So you said you had to do something to the phospholites to make them a point subsource. Could you talk about what you had to do?
So you just want the point light source. So you have to take off all the plastic, what do you call it, lenses and everything, and then spray paint everything black inside, because otherwise you get extra reflections. And we want really crisp shadows. So the test that we do with all the flashlights is you take your arm like this, and if you can see the hair on your arm, it's a really good, good thing going here. So that's what you have to do. But these here are rechargeable. They lose their power really quickly. We have a better one, but they don't produce them anymore. And then the other ones we bought, they're not riggable anymore. They've changed the setup. So we're going to try to work with theater lighting people to create lights that don't burn so quickly, upright, so we can get a color of it.
Have you tried LED?
This is LED.
Okay, I guess that was the bell, so
Bill.
thank you. And thank you, Mia, for it's just reminding me so much of the old school planetarium stuff for some of us older people to remember baby food jar projectors and things.
Our next presenter, of course the lights are down, so I know I have to look and see. A Tale of Two. Kit Breedlove, go for it.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm going to try to be relatively fast here because I have a clip for you, and I'd love to be able to hear your questions and feedback. I'm Kit Breedlove, along with a colleague of mine, and I'll get into who it is in a second. I've been working on a video show that I'm calling A Tale of Two, and I want to explain to you a little bit of what it is before I show you a sample. There we go. All right, this is a 30-minute video show that has some interactive elements. It's not really necessarily an educational show. Antecedents for it at Abrams would be things like we have a dark. So this is a little bit of a comparison of what it's like. It's not this, but if any of you remember books like that, I heard a little applause. My favorite were the Goosebumps variety, personally. But yeah, just sort of, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And then one choice will advance the story and another choice might be fatal. But in that case, I think we would just have you start over at an earlier juncture because people are assumedly paying to see the show. So it's a pretty simple story. You, the audience, are passengers on a ship, that I very cleverly called the Stardome Enterprise. And pretty much it's like a vacation cruise. You're going to a vacation planet called Thania West 4, but things go wrong when a pirate hijacks A or B and then also loads the next video. We want this to be incredibly simple for the employee to do, to be the captain. They don't have to say anything, they just gotta hit A or B. And then the idea is, as is explained in some recorded dialogue that you won't hear in tonight's sample, but the engineer says something along the lines of, audience, passengers, you should clap based on what choice you want the captain to do. And if the captain's smart, he'll probably listen to the audience, he or she. So yeah, just a quick note on tonight's sample. It's really just a radio play. It's something that some of you might know as an animatic, any of you who work in animation. We're still in the early stages, so we've decided we had to get We want the art to look good eventually, but we decided we had to get a local artist for today's sample. This is Jeffrey. He's really great. He's been featured at MoMA, Tate. If it's an art museum, you name it, he's been there. He's really well behaved, and he loves to draw. He's been featured on all kinds of refrigerators all over the world. And he loves video games and playing with his dog. And just for the sake of due diligence, these are the temp music songs that I'm using. Vienna Blood Waltz will actually probably stay in since that's old and public domain. But yeah, Arcade Dreams by The Midnight and Running One by Tom Twyker, Johnny Klimek, and Reinhold Heil. All right, you guys. There we are. You ready for the sample? Yeah. All right. I'm going to cue it up. And when they refer to a captain, you can just pretend that's me.
Okay, looks like we have a communication relay coming from somewhere in our near quadrant. I'll just open that up. Hello, all right now, who is this? Is that you, Shargon? Shargon's a buddy of mine from my Hare Krishna days. Well, it doesn't look like Sharg. This is John, I'm the engineer here. Are you looking to borrow some jet fuel? That's a joke, we don't energy efficient vehicle. Okay, I think you want to speak to the captain. So, Captain, are you available to say something to this person here?
Oh my, here we are again. Ladies and gentlemen of what I'm afraid I can only call the Carnival Cruise of Space, aka the Stardome Enterprise. Captain, as I said, here we are again.
Oh, all right, you two know each other.
Oh, if you could just put a little cap on that engineer for a moment, I'll be nearly done.
Well, I don't think that...
Passengers of the stars, it's my unfortunate duty to inform you all that this lovely individual captaining your ship is a fraud. And shadow of who they claim to be. My name is from Enrollment, and I am here to tell you that the captain you see standing before your field of vision is, I'm afraid, Captain A B B B A B A A A B B B A A B A B A A B A A A A B B A A B B B A B B A B A B. I for true or B for false, much. You might even say a whole darn bunch of our tests curiously matched up. And so the professor went to you, Captain, and you accused me of cheating off of you. And who did they believe?
All right, maybe we can talk.
That gala was something I'd been looking forward to for a long time. And you ruined it. And now I will never be a captain. Which is what happens when you're expelled from the academy. When you're blacklisted. Exiled. Thank God for piracy. I suppose I've decided it's time for another test, Captain. A bit of a encore, if you will. So, let's see how you do. As to the passengers, our audience for tonight, I apologize if what I'm about to do puts you in any danger, but, you know, artistic temperament and all that.
Now, wait, hold on. You're not actually threatening the passengers on the ship, are you? That's, because that's...
First question on today's exam. Do you admit, Captain of the Stardome, that you indeed cheated off of me all those years ago? I've inputted the query into your decision, Otron, so there shouldn't be much trouble making your choice. Tut.
Because in addition to his great acting, he pretty much set up these slides and video in Digistar for me when I was really low on time. So he's been completely invaluable, a huge help. Shannon Schmall also has been very encouraging for all of this. But yeah, this is in the early stages. So the good news about that is any questions or feedback or practical concerns you guys have can still be applied, and in fact is very useful to John and I. So if it's all right, a little early, I'd like to open it up to questions. Jeffrey, the 7-year-old. It was me. But I had to make a joke because we had to explain why my drawing skills are so bad. You see. I was thinking a general audience. So the thing is that there's no profanity. So the question she asked is, what audience are we gearing this toward? So this is further explained in the proceedings paper, which you can look at, but there's no profanity, no explicit graphic themes, no violence, no sexual stuff, anything like that. But I would think that this show would mostly be interesting for only kids 13 to 12 or up. I just don't think it would be too interesting for elementary schools. It would be inappropriate.
Wouldn't get the sarcasm or some of the jokes, but the middle school kids will laugh hilarious.
Kids laughing hilariously.
So the program, do you interact with Digistar Universe at all? I mean, after you make your selections, too much going to be like 16 by 9, 4 by 3. Like, do we interact in the Digistar Universe?
I would like to make it full dome relative. Oh, I put it together in a video editor on my laptop, and it's just that little square. But yeah, that's sort of what we've been thinking, is that something that, at the very least, if not that, is formatted for a dome, because otherwise why have it in a dome?
Are you going to animate the characters, like a stop motion animation? Is that the goal?
I was thinking something that's like that. I don't know if any of you are familiar with RPGs, but they do a thing where, does that mean we have 2 minutes of question? Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to wait for the next person to get set up. Are you close, Ken?
Yeah.
All right, well, we've got some.
Did I get a mic?
Okay. Yeah, I'll give him the mic. I have 3 minutes to do an introduction, so we have time for you to get set up there. Okay. Our next presenter is Ken Murphy, turning dome master frames into a full dome. Now take it away, Ken.
All right. Thank you. Yep. All right, good. My name is Ken Murphy, and this is the title of my talk. And first of all, how many of you have heard? All right, well, many people have heard of it. Some people have tried it, got frustrated. It is a complex piece of software, but it is completely free. Just to give you a little background, at my school, I teach a 1-credit course on animation in Blender, and if you're familiar with this as a slide-based program, my students and I have migrated over to Full Dome, and we used Blender to do the job. And so to come in and work on this project, so it was a lot of fun. So Blender is really an incredible tool, and really, so what is Blender? Just real quickly, you can use it to make 3D models. You can take fashion, and this is what we do in my class, is we create scenes. We apply lighting and give them whatever kind of look we want. Physics to our scenes, so if something collides with something else, it'll actually look convincingly like a collision. But insert that's built into Blender. But lastly, it also has a game engine, and that tends to appeal to a lot of people as well. So that's Knives of software programs. It does almost everything, not everything, but it sure is robust in what it can do. Basically, what I've done is I've created a way for people to take frames and to convert them into a playable movie for their. And oftentimes on Domel, I'll be reading and somebody will have this struggle going on where they're not sure how to do this process of taking frames. Focus on in Blender. One thing that helps this process is that Blender is very customizable, and I into a playable movie. In fact, I've created a startup file
that I'm willing to share with anyone. I'll give my email in a little bit, and I'm going to show you what this startup file looks like. So all you need to do really is install Blender on your system. If you're interested in the startup file that I give you, just double click on it. Blender will open up and it will have all the settings that you need to get for you to get going. So let's focus on this for just a second. This is the layout that I put together in Blender, the view. And one of the terms that's used in sort of the Blender verbiage is something called the VSC timeline is, and that's this section just below here. And what you see are a bunch of strips. And the strips really you can import audio tracks, you can import movies, you can import frame sequences. The paper is available in the proceedings, or if you want an advanced copy of it, just send me an email, I can get it right to you. It has step-by-step how to set these up and how to strip. So it's really very easy to do. There's nothing really fancy or sophisticated about it. All these red areas change, and can you see that? It looks pretty small up there, doesn't it? Yeah, it is blurry. The resolution is just nibble in the proceedings in my paper, where you can zoom in and see it much, much better. I was going to take Blender, but we had some problems getting my computer to work on this system, so I won't be doing that, where I was going to demonstrate. But anyway, these strips are really everything. You can cut them up. You can not only just render out your sequence quite easily. That's all listed in my paper. You can do some fancy transitions. You can do like wipes and this. So adjust the lighting and brightness, color, pull out the reds or the blues, whatever you decide of Blender. So it has everything. It's just a matter of finding it. Up at the top here, so you need to change what I have here to whatever your settings are. So resolution, the format that I pick, that I like to format, and so that's what it's set for by default, but if you like something else, Blender has this huge, robust list of the best in your dome. So I tried to make this as generic as possible, so you can just pull this file out and just kind of plug and let's go to the next one. So when you have these strips laid down, a Shift-A because you want to add something maybe, and this is where you can find all the transitions and the effects. Very easy, just click on it, hit delete key, it's gone. Some of you are very interested in truncation. I think it's lessenable, resolutions are getting higher, but when we really struggle to get the most resolution possible, in some domes they like to truncate or clip off part of the dome circle, and I've got instructions, I'm not about any of it, but I've got instructions in my paper as well where you can use Blender to truncate. Sometimes that's all people want to do is they want to take their frames. I can help you do that in my paper. So that is about it. Let me just mention a couple other things. That's my email address, ken.murphy@smsu.edu. I'd like to point out somebody by the name of Jim Craig, and he started his own little company called Planet of Mystery, produce content, and he has created some very nice tutorials, really centered around the video sequence editor. He has other tutorials, but check this out if you want to get more depth in the video sequence editor. You can really do a lot with it. It becomes kind of a like Adobe, has some of the Adobe type features in it if you push it that far. But that is it. That is it. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I'd be glad to talk you through it. So that's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.
We still have 3 minutes plus 2 for questions.
All right, we have questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Should I use the mic or can I just?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can run it for you.
You're not loud enough.
So 2 questions, or maybe you don't know, that's okay. The first question is your codec. You said there's a nice codec package. H.264 is kind of a good codec. How do you get into the H.264 codec, if you ever do? That's my first question. And then the second question is Zeiss in 265, the brand new codec that's out, has 10-bit grayscale, and I think that was missed. But all of us have seen sunsets and gradients, and you can see the steps in the grayscale, and it drives me back crazy. Blender can use that codec package. That's a big deal. So your paper has a huge step up then that can be better than and tweak the H.264 codec encoding. And then two, did you see H.265 at all in your work?
Great questions. Yes. Right when you first go into settings, it's kind of made user-friendly so that right away you see quality, and it's like medium, just pick, and that's kind of the user-friendly approach. But yes, you can go in deeper and you can change bit rates. All that is adjustable. If you're a Blender user, then version 2.79. But you can change. And some people are complaining about it only because they're not used to it, but those are all adjustable. 265, I've never heard of until this conference. I'm very because Blender uses FFmpeg, and a lot of other software programs draw on all the work of FFmpeg. And then the following version of Blender, I'm assuming, will pick up H.265. So yeah, and I know exactly what. Anything else? Anything else?
You still have 2 minutes for questions.
All right. Well, I can sing and dance. No, I can't. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you very much. I'll be around. I've got my card. I also have some flash drives. If you have a computer or files for me right away, just approach me afterward, and I'll get you set up. There was a question over here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, with these sorts of open source projects, there's almost always, and it can be hard to find newbie friendly areas of that community. And so do you
I think what I do is I refer people to YouTube because it's out there, and in YouTube I would do a search on and put in the word beginner or beginning or introduction, and a whole ton of stuff will come up. If you are looking at tutorials, and then because a lot is changing, and if you're a Blender user, Blender is right on the cusp of a major upgrade to a new version, and it's going to completely change, and it's going to be quite robust. So there are changes ahead. So a relatively new version, type in the word beginner, and it's out there. So I do recommend Jim's. Send me an email, and I'll try and find some for you, and I'll send you some links. All right. Now I am up. All right. Thank you.
This morning should deserve a hand, so do it. That is the end of the paper session.
That Pia has offered to stick around during this break. If you want to play with some of the shadow puppets, you can do that. We'll dim the lights down, so if you don't want to